First up, we have Vincent, and we've got a character, an axe, and wine, bottle and glass, and knife and sheath. All looking good. Good images for those. Let's take a close look at the character. And yeah, looking great. Good improvements here. If I'm not mistaken, it looks like the shoulder maybe has a little more definition. Um, and I'm liking the rolled up sleeves. I think that's new. And the knees do appear to have a little bit more definition as well. And yeah, I think the hands look a little bit more well formed. I feel like this thumb could use a little bit of attention. Um, right now, the shape is a little. Like it's not bad. But I just think you could, yeah, maybe afford to give it a little bit more detail. Maybe throw a few more um, splits in here, and just kind of round this out a little bit more. Might move these up. Move these down a little bit. This looks a little. Oh, jeez, I keep hitting the wrong button. These look a little wide. And this is the like the front of the thumb. So it's starting to look a little bit better shape. I think. And then you can also, now that we have a little more detail here from what I added, you can add a little bit of that, the kind of the ball of the hand there. Give that a little bit more shape. And maybe we could push in here a little bit, actually. Sorry, Maya just crashed in the middle of that. Gotta love it. One thing I was thinking about, and I sort of just realized it now, is that the beard has this look like a beard mask, and I think it's a couple things. I think one thing is the way it sort of hangs down, away from the face like that, and I think you want to have this kind of more wrap to the contour of the face. The other thing you might consider is just texturing on the beard. So I'm just seeing what this looks like without a beard. Because what if you just you had your hair and then you just painted on the texture of a beard, and then you wouldn't run into a lot of issues with the surfaces intersecting, and it'd be easier to make your mouth shapes, and we could see your mouth shapes better. And anyways, I think if you're going to keep the beard, I think it needs to kind of form to the face a little bit more, especially in the back there, so it's not sort of hanging, sort of draping down like that. And I also think, I'll just undo where we had this. I feel like you went a little big, like I keep pushing it button. Like I might go, cut out some of this stuff and have it nice, because that's pretty high for a beard. I know some people have beards that go up that high, but and then it'll give you more control if you want to kind of like blend it into his skin, where it's sort of this gradual. Maybe there's like a few little hairs high up here, and then it gets thicker as it goes down. And I just think it'll be a lot less trouble. So, and what else? Yeah, other than that, you know, looking good. I think it's gonna. I'm just gonna hide this for a moment. Control H. Let's just look at it smoothed. See how that's gonna look. Yeah, good. You could probably what you could do with these guys is you could take like an edge like this. So see how these edges don't really like this edge doesn't really add any definition to the shape. It's just part of this straight thing. So you could lose that. I can do Control Delete or Edit Mesh Delete Edge, and then something like this I might take and use Slide Edge and kind of just move it closer to that top as like a holding edge, and then when you smooth, actually this will be good because we can compare the 2 feet. You know, see, this has a lot of extra dense little lines, and this has, you know, perfectly sufficient number of lines, and, you know, it held the shape just fine. So, it's not a big deal, but something you can improve on. Yeah, the topology looks really good. I mean, I think this character will work good. Yeah, I mean, the other thing I like about the beard being painted on rather than modeled is I have a feeling it's gonna, you know, penetrate the shirt and, you know, kind of blocks the neck, and you may have issues around the neck. So anyways, I just think it'll be easier without. Actually, it looks pretty good bald too, but I like your hair. I just think the beard, yeah, like I said, it feels like a beard mask. Anyways, great character, great work. Touch up those thumbs. Think about what you want to do with the beard. Axe looks good. Not really much to add here. Yeah, looks really cool. Great design. These are pretty straightforward. Looks good. It's good when you do the inside surface of the wine glass as well as the outside surface. And again, looks good. Yeah, I like these straps here. Those, you know, sometimes those can be deceptively complex to get, you know, all this kind of stuff to work together. So yeah, great job on the props as well. Next up is Alberto. And camera's a little wonky. I'm going to go view, default view. And that puts that back to normal. And so what's going on? Oh, the lips, I see what's happening here. It looks like, I'm just shift double click. Oops, why did that happen? That's strange. Shift double clicking to get the row of faces. What I think is going on is that the normals are reversed on all these. So if I do shift right mouse click, does that give me reverse normals? No. Oh wait, face normals, reverse normals. There we go. Ah, whoa, why did that happen when I did that? That's very strange. So usually, that's really odd. I'm just going to assign a new material. That's usually, it turns green when it doesn't have a material. I'll just make a new Lambert. Okay, that puts that back to normal. And then there's some of those, I think, reversed faces inside, I think. Some of these faces are, they're a little hard to see. But it doesn't really matter, but you could probably select some of the, or, oh, I know, no, it's just the, it's just dark. I thought you had a mouth cavity in there, but I think we're alright. Or this, but maybe this Oops, no, that's all right. So I think that I can't remember, does character not have eyeballs? If he does have eyeballs, you need to put them in and sort of shape them around that. Um, I think the lip shape could use a little bit more attention. I might. I don't know why it goes in and then back out again like that. I'm not sure if that's on purpose or not. Like it has this sort of double kind of crease there, which looks strange. I think what we'd want is this edge, really pull this whole edge forward, although it's looking a little odd there. And then I might turn on symmetry here. Not gonna work. Okay. So I think these guys can get pushed back some. Well, maybe not those, just these. A little bit. And then might take those and push them back a bit too. And let's try to use this sculpt tool, paint, sculpt, and we're on smooth, and see how this works if we kind of touch that up with smooth a little bit. Okay, just to kind of, so that doesn't sort of stick out as far. And then I might maybe just pull this back a little bit more. I might take this and then B for smooth select and then increase that some. Maybe a little bit more. I'm just holding B and left mouse dragging. Just kind of move that back some. Okay, and then I'm going to hit B again to turn that off. Push this back a little bit. Starting to look a little bit better. I think you could afford to have a edge here. I'm just using multi-cut. Oh, then I wonder why it's not. It's interesting. It's not. So what I might do? Yeah, you could go here, and then here, and then. Oh, I see. You have some. Let me undo. Actually. I think it's this edge that's throwing things off a little bit. That's a bit too tight there. It's like right almost on top of another edge, so I'm going to use that slide edge thing and spread that out a little bit so it's not so crazy tight. And then is that a triangle or what? Looks like a four-sided face. I don't know why it's not, when I use the multi-cut, why it's not continuing on through this one. I would have thought it would. But anyway. Yeah, okay, well that's working. Who knows? So now you have a little bit more detail. You could, shape this a little bit more. Really not liking what that's doing. And then the same with the eye, since we have this new piece here, you could, adjust that a little bit, just kind of round things out a little bit more. You'd have the opportunity to play with some of these points, that kind of thing. So anyways, it's looking a little better. I think it has a little bit of ways to go to make the lips looking better. Um, like so. Anyways, might want to keep filling with it. I'm not loving the geometry in the corner right now, but I guess it's all right. The other thing is you usually want to start out in a little bit more of a closed position. I don't like how these are planar there. Um, oops. Oops, that's no good, what I just did there. Just need to move this back a touch. It's better. Actually, I don't really know why these are kind of sticking out at all. Whoops, I selected some extra stuff there. Anyways, getting a little better. One thing that's I think that I've got more edge loops than probably are needed here, and I think the deal is that you needed them for the hand, which, by the way, this hand just needs a lot more shaping to it. For example, I mean, it's good you have this edge for the hand, anyways, but see, when I look at these and they're all planar, I'm seeing, oh, well, there's a real missed opportunity to shape. You really never want to see, a whole series of edges all in a plane because they're not being used to define the shape at all. So, I could be taking these like that and scaling them in, to round out this finger. And I can do the same on the top. And, if some of these aren't helping define the shape, then just delete those edges. Don't have any extra ones here. But these look kind of, the hand looks very unfinished. The front needs to be rounded. You want to get these, some extra detail here and get those pushed in there and maybe pull, you'll end up with a couple extra loops here for knuckles, and you take this and push that in a little bit, and then you could take something like this and pull it up. But I would also have another one. Well, that's a little bit interesting how that works out, but that allows you to round out the hand even more, and you could take something like this and pull it up and kind of help out with the knuckle a little bit, and starting to get, but they still look very kind of geometric. They also look a little kind of skewed to the side. So again, these hands need a lot of work, and the thumb, yeah, really needs a lot of work. Just really shaping that. And so then what I would say though is that you don't want all these extra edge loops in the arm. So what you'll want to do is to terminate these somewhere on the hand, and for example, I could take I could delete this edge here, Control Delete, and then take these two verts. Sorry, I just undid that. That was acting odd. But anyways, I mean, you could just take a couple of vertices and merge them to center. Let's see if that works okay. It's kind of freaking out. I might delete history on this guy. Edit, delete by type, history. I wonder if there's some somewhat hidden issues in this thing, but let's see if it works now. It really shouldn't do that. Oh, looks normal. Don't know why that merge is acting weird, but you know, at this stage, like for example, because an edge like this isn't really adding any detail at the moment on the hand, I could do Control Delete and get it off the arm. And then if I want, just just put it back in for the hand. So let me just look at the top view. Like maybe start here and actually let's delete that. Go to say like there, here. Just holding down Shift to snap it to 50%. Don't know why it doesn't want to. Alright, so I'll just hit enter to complete that because it's being a little bit funny. I'll go here to here, enter, there to here, enter, and then figure out how I want to terminate these. I can just go like there to there or something to that snap. Something like that, and so that we don't end up getting all these extra edges on the arm. But yeah, some real shaping on the hand is needed. Body's okay. A little concerned about this area here, the kind of the crotch area. I feel like you need to a bit too much of a thigh gap going on there. I might kind of close that up a little bit. Legs looking okay. The feet are much better than they were. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, focusing on lips, hands, and just cleaning up some other areas as well. Here's a quiver, which looks great. Yeah, really good. Arrow. It's got an interesting tip. And potion. It's looking like. Guessing that we've got some reverse normals on this. Shift, right mouse click. Oh, I gotta be in. Oh, that's an NURBS object. So I think for NURBS then we want to do edit NURBS, reverse surface direction. There we go. Kind of the same idea as the reverse and the normals. And then for this this is a little thin here, so you might want to insert some isoparms and then kind of wrap that around or something, or kind of curl it around to give it some thickness. Oh, I guess you kind of have. It's just we're seeing like the inside-out surface there. Well, you could go ahead and convert this into polygons if you want to. Might be a good approach. Next up is Tommy. Oh, and by the way, Tommy, if you could name your assignments with your name and the module number, that would be great. So guessing that there's not really an explanation here, but I'm thinking that maybe that's the old one and this is the new one, or I'm not sure what's going on here that we're looking at. But yeah, I think it's kind of hasn't gone all that far from the last version. I'll open that one up real quick. So this is what you turned in last week. I can see that you put eyeballs in since then, and the lips. Okay, and then you've done some stuff with the arms. Okay, let's open up this week again. You know what I might do just to be able to compare? I'm just going to group this, move this over, and then I'll import in the new one so I can just get an understanding of what where we are. Okay, so we can kind of compare. So really the head hasn't changed. The arm has been built, but and connected to the hand, which is good. But the hand, we don't have any additional detail. And the shirt is a little more seamless here, but we still need to round those things in. And I guess you'll use these legs then for it, like that, maybe. So yeah, like I mentioned before, I think the eye and eyelid shapes needs a lot of attention. Adding some loops there and kind of forming that, and maybe getting more of a nose going on here, and getting a little bit more on the lip shape. And I think, yeah, definitely on the hand, you'll need a lot more definition of the fingers, kind of rounding these things out, and adding loops for the fingers to allow them to bend, because right now there's definitely not enough detail on these to have working hands and fingers, and making sure this shirt's sort of aligned so it's not intersecting the arm. And I believe last time I demonstrated, kind of wrapping this around so that you can have some thickness there. So yeah, I would just say it's got a ways to go to be complete. And also you should have some props, but there's no props turned in. So keep going and let me know if you have any questions. Okay, next up is Damien. So yeah, this is looking like you've made some improvements. I think I can see some additional detail in the face. I kind of look at these curves and just try and round them out a little bit to get some better shape. It doesn't want to do the symmetry thing, which is okay. I mean, actually, this is kind of a good thing for all of you guys. One thing. Oh yeah, well, duh, because of the arm, right? So we're never going to have that. So, but if the head itself is symmetrical, what you could do is like detach the head just sort of temporarily, and then work on it symmetrically, and then reattach it afterwards. Just because you have this unusual asymmetrical body doesn't mean you have to kind of deal with. I'm assuming this is. Oh yeah, look, well, so okay, well look, so let's do this in a couple steps. So I'll any of these work a little better. These, by the way, these are really tight together, these edge loops. I might slide those apart just at least just a touch. Can I detach along that edge? So what I'll do is edit mesh, detach, and it says middle mouse drag to slide, so you can actually do that. But now that I've detached along that edge, what I should be able to do... Did that detach? I don't know if that worked. I don't know why it's selecting those faces. It's a little weird. Edit mesh, detach. Yeah, I don't know why it's switching to like a vert selection after I do that. That's a little odd. See if we have a grow selection. Oh, okay, it did work. So I'm using the greater than symbol, which is like shift and period, to grow the selection. And then I'll just do, actually, I don't even need to do that. I can just do mesh separate. And so now the head's a separate object. So yeah, really it's just detach and then separate. Those are really the only two steps. So I might just isolate this guy for a moment. I can press this button and it isolates the surface. And I don't know if you needed to mash this in because of the mask on there. Let's see real quick. Just gonna delete half of this. And then just put the, make sure the pivot's at the origin. It is. And then I'll do edit duplicate special. And let's just reset this and scale -1 in the X. And let's do, one thing you can do is an instance actually is a nice way to work. Hey. Oh, the reason that's not showing up is that I isolated this. So let's turn off isolate and there we go. And then let's grab both of these. And did that work with the instance thing? Did I instance this right? Yeah. So what instance does is it's a special kind of copy of the surface where they have a different transform node and share the shape node, and all that means is that the mirroring stuff all works sort of automatically. You just have to work on one half, and this half will, the other half will do exactly everything this half does. So then you don't have to worry about like little problems with mirroring. It all happens kind of automatically, which I think is nice. Yeah, it's just a little, like I was saying, like looking at these curves, like move this down and trying to get it kind of a bit of a nicer flow of these shapes. And then maybe push these back. Oops. And these. Flatten that out a little bit. Maybe these a little bit more and these. Maybe I went too far with that. And then I think you need maybe like an extra edge. Oh, that's the slide tool, so just hold down control and, something to kind of hold the shape of these a little bit. I guess that's what, yeah. And then can kind of move some of these. Okay. Anyways, I might move these down a little bit. This one down, that one down, and maybe move these over. Maybe this could move out a little bit more. This could these. Might want an extra loop there. Yeah, I mean, just the shapes just look a little kind of chunky, or I don't know how to describe it. Like, these two edges, I could take these and use my edge slide kind of to sort of round that out a little bit more. Maybe push this back a bit. Go to object and paint, sculpt, make sure I have the smooth on, and hold down B to change the brush size, and just maybe smooth that a little there. Kind of average those out a little bit. So I think I don't know. I think it's a little better. I'm really liking that along the top, I think. These need to move back a little bit. I think some of that needs to be done down here. Anyways, let's turn off isolate select. For the rest of the body, yeah, good. I think this hand needs a lot of attention. I think you need more detail. Yeah, it's very kind of squared off right now, and you're going to want to round out those fingers. And I think your extra edge loops here, yeah, you will want 3 for each knuckle, but spread them out a little bit more, and don't get so tight in here like these. Those are too close together, so spread those out a little bit, and just generally need to sculpt the hand more. I think the thumb could use a little bit more thickness on these, and you'll need more edge loops to shape the hand more, because there's just not enough detail right now. Yeah, pants looking really good. I think this looks a little better. Yeah, it looks like you've put some attention to that. I think that looks better. This is interesting. Okay, there's a bottle, I think. Yeah, pretty straightforward. This data pad, that looks pretty cool. Sort of retro looking technology, kind of like that. Wrench, this definitely looks good. It looks like you looked at some real reference for that. I think that, well, if you haven't used this, I thought I saw this on another party model, but you might want to try this primitive helix. Can sometimes make for a good, for this the screw, the threading there, but you just have to play with some of the, the adjustments here to get it to look like anything. Whoops. So that can start to kind of look like threading a little bit, like for a screw if you goof with it for a while, which I think could be better than that. Alright, good work. Next up is Cindy. Yeah, so this is coming along. Yeah, as I mentioned before, if this is going to move, it'll require more edge loops there. And I think you might try to give that, I don't know, just a little more shape. It's looking a little primitive, and it's kind of hanging off the head here, so you might want to get it to conform to the shape of the face a little bit more. And the eyeballs have just a feeling like they're just stuck in there. I think try to find a way to integrate these into the head a little bit better. And yeah, there's some, you might want to try to look at some of these shapes here, just this little inconsistencies here. Um, and it's still looking, there's not like this feeling of this continuous curve. It's sort of, for this kind of character, I think that would be better. So I think you could still spend some time shaping this a little bit more, because right now it still has a little bit of that kind of squared off feeling to it. And I don't know if this, the kind of roughness you have to the shape is intentional, or but just kind of the way that's all jagged there. I don't know if that's really helping you or not, but just starting to try to round this out a little bit so it doesn't feel so kind of blocky still. And yeah, stuff like that, I don't know if that's meant to kind of give it, I don't know, I would just try and get better sort of curves going on, as you look through the shape, and kind of try to get rid of these corners by adjusting the shape some more there. Yeah, I think you're going to find these legs a little bit challenging to work with. You might want to give it a little bit more leg. It's good that you got the wings fleshed out and moved over to the side. That's going to help. Yeah, maybe a little bit more neck would help too. So, it's a usable character. I just think it's going to be challenging to do very much animation with. It's going to be pretty limited in what it's going to do because of the shape of its body. And I just think you could just pay more attention to the shapes and try to really round things out and get nicer curves going. And maybe try to think of a way that integrate the eye in there. I mean, I don't know if you want to go as far as building whole eyelids, but it just has a little bit of this kind of like a button that's been stuck on or something right now. Okay, and yeah, let's. You mentioned the props. If you could get those in, that'd be great. This is Brittany. This character and some props. So yeah, this is looking pretty good. Actually, quite good. I think that the hands would deserve some more attention. This just looks it's looking kind of like the basic bare minimum, and I think you'll need to add, more detail to knuckles and shape those out, round out the fingers. I like that you've got the different finger lengths in here, and the fundamental structure of your thumb is looking good. But I just think that, these could use a little more shape to them and get some of the palm shape and those kind of stuff. But the structures sound. And the face, yeah, it's pretty good. I think, I've worked on a little lips. I think if you can get this kind of smoothed out here by kind of averaging out those points and moving those back, that would be good. You'll probably want to kind of add a few more loops to the lids and get into some detail there to flesh those out. Ear looks good. Nice neck there. Skates, that's going to be somewhat challenging animation, but I guess you have the option of just maybe hiding those and having them walk around as well. So legs look good, body's pretty good, maybe some extra detail along the bottom there, more horizontal loops to I'm not liking how those intersect, so I might kind of pull this out a little bit. And you might want to give, it doesn't have any thickness right now, does it? So you might want to give this, kind of wrap around the bottom like I demonstrated before to give it some thickness. But yeah, you want I mean, what you want essentially is you want as much. It's a little hard to see here, but let me just for the moment. Let's move this up. I'll move it back down in a second. But what you want is, if this is going to hang over the edge there, you want as much and as similarly placed edge loops on this piece as you have underneath. So wherever it's hard to see, but wherever I see an edge loop, yeah, and the props look good. I think that that's a watch. You might want to do more on the face, like you could, you know, maybe extrude this out and these faces out, and just gonna deselect that stuff and those. So what I might do is extrude and then scale this in a little bit, and then maybe extrude again and push this out, scale it in a little bit more, and you know, maybe even, oops, let's get the face loop here, shift double click, extrude that also to give that a bit of like a kind of a ridge there, and see it's starting to look a little bit more watch like. Yeah, the flower pot looks cool. The base looks a little thin at the bottom, so I might give that a little bit more shape, and this is looking a little maybe too spherical here, maybe play with the shape a little bit more, but it's just a prop, so depending on how close to the camera. Also, think about scale, like if this is a watch, how big is the teddy bear going to be, etc. Because right now this looks like either a very big, or is that a pendant? I don't know what we're looking at, but think about scale, what their sizes are relative to each other. Good work.